Okay, what's your name?
I'm Jessica Burnham.
And how old are you?
28.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, who are you on a soul level?
Oh, wow. That's a difficult question. A soul level. I would say I am a very empathetic woman who I feel that I've lived like 4 lifetimes. So with that, I feel like I'm knowledgeable. But I try to remain teachable at the same time. I don't know if that's who I am on a soul level, but I feel like I'm really creative.
Yeah.
Also, although it's hard for me to express that. Like I don't openly always express my creativity. So I guess I'm also a shy person. Yeah, on my soul level. Man, that's a hard question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
It's okay.
Yeah.
As far as your creativity, since it's something you kind of keep to yourself, like what are some of the things you use to kind of like as an outlet, basically?
I would say reading is an outlet. I used to, which I don't do this anymore, I used to write little short stories like years ago. I mean, probably over 15 years ago. I was so young when I used to do that. And I like to journal. I think that's like a nice way for me to release my creativity. And recently I've discovered these painting classes where I've only done it 3 times, but I love it. I really enjoy it. So that's kind of opened up like an avenue that I want to continue doing, whether that's like buying paint stuff at my house and just for fun painting or drawing. I've like taught myself to crochet. So there's little projects.
Love crocheting.
I really like it, but I'm not good at it. I don't know if that's because I taught myself with a book. So there's little projects I like to get into like that.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy like being outdoors and like hiking, which I know that's not necessarily like a creative outlet, but for me,
it's definitely an outlet.
Yeah, it is an outlet, and for me, it's really nice to just be outside. Not always. You know? Like I don't really like the cold. I really enjoy like sitting on the beach in the sun. But I do like taking my dogs on walks and to the reservoir and on the trail and things like that.
So is there anything that has happened in the past or anything that's going on right now that has really kind of like shaped who you are as a woman into this like empathetic, shy, caring, creative person?
I'm sure there are things. Being in recovery from drugs and alcohol is definitely one of them. One of the biggest ones, like in my adult life at least, that I can look back at that's helped shape me, because I've been introduced and I've met so many people that I feel like I wouldn't have normally met had I just continued the standard lifestyle, whether that's like graduating from high school, going to a 4-year college, and then working a 9-to-5 job. I feel like I've made so many connections, which in turn I've had so many experiences doing things I wouldn't normally do. And I've also met so many different people from all walks of life that has helped me be more empathetic towards people and sympathetic towards people. Also, when I was younger, so I have an older brother and my parents are still together. When I was younger, we had a lot of family time together, and it was a very open household to express our feelings.
I love that.
And opinions. And I think that has helped me throughout my childhood and my adult life, knowing that it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to have an opinion, and it's also okay for other people to have their own opinions and feelings. And I've learned that I can like honor people's different thoughts and feelings and emotions, like even though they're different than my own. Like I still can love someone and care for someone and feel for someone even if they feel differently than I do. So I really think just getting sober was like the biggest thing that's helped it's helped in that sense.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me what means most to you and what means least. And we're just going to talk a little bit about like each of the things and what they mean to you. So the first category is love, sex, relationships. The next is society, culture, politics. And the third is spirituality and or religion, because some people don't put those in the same category. So for you, because all of them kind of are connected anyway, but for you, what takes the front seat?
What was the first one? Love, sex, relationships?
Yeah, love, sex, relationships was the first.
I think that takes the front
Okay.
the front seat, followed by spirituality and religion.
Okay.
And then, what was that? Culture and politics?
Yeah, society, culture, politics.
Will be the last.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about love and sex and relationships. And it don't always have to be romantic and platonic, like whatever. Just like, what's your take on all of that? How do you feel?
I don't think I'd be where I am in life without relationships. You know, as you said, like platonic relationships or romantic relationships. Like there's so many, I've recently learned about different types of relationships in my life, meaning that like I can have my close friends, and then I can just have friends and acquaintances.
Yeah.
And I think before I logically knew that, but I don't know. It was like a wake-up call to me when I was like, oh, like I can tell my good friend this, but I don't need to tell my coworker that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like boundaries, I
yeah.
guess. But yeah, so relationships have always been a big thing for me. But when I was younger, at least like when I think back, I don't know if it's reality or if it's like, I don't know if it's reality, but I feel that I had a lot of friends when I was younger. I feel like I was really active in sports and ballet and horseback riding, and through those outlets, I created like these platonic friendships. But then when I got older, I don't know if it was when I was like hitting puberty or when men entered my life, that I started getting a little bit more self-conscious, and it was a little bit more difficult for me to be real and open and honest with the people around me. And I don't think I knew that at the time. I've only realized this years later, looking back on my life, that it was difficult for me to be vulnerable. I also, in high school, I feel like I was a chameleon. That whether I was dating someone or it was my best friend, if they were like, I love country music, and I knew that I hated it, I would be like, oh, I love country music too.
I feel that, yeah.
My viewpoint on friendships and relationships has changed as I've gotten older, that it doesn't mean you have to like all the same things. It doesn't mean that that's like what a relationship is based upon. So my viewpoint on them has like opened up. And then when I got a little bit older, like into college and in my early 20s, I didn't have many relationships. My relationship with my family, so my mom and my dad and my brother, and even my cousins, aunts, uncles, were distanced. And I think that's because the alcoholism and drug addiction in my life took a front seat, and all those relationships took a back seat. So yeah, I didn't have any relationships in my early 20s. I was really struggling, and I didn't reach out. But fast forward a few years, I'm sober now from drugs and alcohol, and it's been one of the biggest blessings in my life. I have learned how to show up and be a daughter to my parents. I've showed up and learned how to be a sister to my brother and welcome those relationships in my life. And I've learned to like sit down and shut up and listen to them and like learn who they are as well. And I've learned how to be a friend, most importantly, to myself, to my coworkers, to my like good friends, to kind of distant friends, And then also to more intimate, like sexual relationships in my life. You know, I've learned, I think, how to just show up and be like open and honest, and that's not always pretty. And that's scary. You know, sometimes being open and vulnerable and raw is like, it's not a pretty process.
Right.
And I've personally become more comfortable with being uncomfortable, which has really helped me strengthen those relationships in my life. Yeah.
I love that. Well said. You said spirituality and or religion is next on your list. So are you religious? Are you spiritual? Like, where do you stand with that? What are your views?
I would say I'm spiritual.
Okay.
I was raised Episcopal, which is a type of Christianity. So my parents had my brother and I going to Sunday school, going to church. We were confirmed, and I personally like their point of view or how they handled the situation, that they gave us something. It was almost our choice. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Hold on. So they put us in Sunday school. They had us going to church to open up our eyes to religion, I think. And then once we were confirmed, like, I'm not sure how old you are when you get confirmed, but they left it up to my brother and I. They were like, if you choose to continue to go, we will support that. If you choose to take a different path with a different religion or spirituality or nothing at all, we also support that. So it wasn't forced down our throats. But now, so I guess that was like religion, but now I would say I'm just more of a spiritual person. And what that looks like is I believe in God.
Yeah.
I believe in higher power, but I don't want to go as far and say I believe in the biblical God and like Jesus Christ and everything that comes along with that. I don't know. Maybe I do. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I just know I believe in something, and I feel that putting limitations on it, such as I believe everything that the Bible says and I am a practicing Christian, I feel like that's a little bit more limiting. And I could be wrong, but that's just kind of where I stand with that. So my spirituality looks like I pray today, and prayer for me is like a conversation. You know, I like to thank my higher power for things that I have in my life today, and it's so crazy. I heard someone once say, if you were to wake up tomorrow only with the things that you thanked God for yesterday, what would you have? And I was shocked. I was like, I think I'd wake up with my dog.
Right.
And like, you, God. But that was a wake-up call for me to express more gratitude to like my God in my life today. And I truly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe that I wouldn't be where I am today in life without my spiritual connection. So ever since I heard that woman say that, you know, I make time in the morning and at night and throughout the day to like thank God for blessing me with this beautiful life today. And that's not necessarily materialistic things.
Right.
That might be my ability to feel that sadness, which sounds crazy, but you know, a few years ago, I couldn't feel that. And to me, I'm grateful for that. It might look like just thanking God for opening my eyes this morning and getting my feet on the ground, you know? And then other times it might be like, you know what, thank you, God, for that raise at work. You know, so sometimes it is a little bit more of like materialistic and like actual things that you can see and measurable things. But I do try to stick to more principles and feelings, health even. I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I think that's also a good thing because I really do. I care a lot about my relationship with my higher power today, and I don't always feel it. I want to be like honest about that too. So even though I pray and I thank God and like I ask for help in the difficult times, and sometimes I'm going through the motions without actually feeling that connection.
Mm.
And that can be a pretty scary place to be.
Yeah.
But it always gets better. So even though I might not feel a connection at this moment, or I mean, I do at this moment, but for instance, in this moment, if I didn't feel a connection, I have learned over time, like, don't give up. Don't just stop praying, and don't stop thinking, and don't stop trying to be a better person because I don't feel that connection. Sometimes I feel a disconnect because I'm not doing enough of like giving back and being a nice person. And I mean, there's so many different avenues that my spiritual life goes down, right? And there's women in my life today, and sometimes like when I speak to them, I give them an example of like trying to be a better person and giving back. And it's funny, the example I always say is, it doesn't need to be like a huge gesture of being a good person. You know, it doesn't mean donating $100 to the sick and suffering, or homeless shelter every week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like many days I'm at work and I just clean up the dishes in the sink for other people. Like, that's a really big gesture in my opinion.
No, and it is.
But the thing that I always tell these women in my life are, imagine, or when you're going grocery shopping, because I know I do this, I go grocery shopping and I pick up things and I'm like, wait, do I really need that pint of ice cream or whatever? And I just put it in a random shelf. Like, I don't put it back to where it belongs. I always tell them, like, being a generous and nice and kind and spiritually loving person wanting to help someone else is walking back to that frozen aisle and putting that ice cream back. Because at the end of that someone's shift, they need to go down every aisle and put all the unorganized items back in their home.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because now when I'm in the grocery store and I decide I don't want something, I'm like, shit. Like, I'm gonna be late and now I need to go walk this back.
Yeah.
And that must sound so silly.
No, it's real though.
Yeah.
As someone who's worked in retail before, like, I get that.
Yes. And
it's appreciated.
It makes a difference, you know? Like, being nice doesn't always, and like spiritual, I'm just going on a tangent now on all these things.
It's okay. Tangent away.
Tangent away, I like that. And part of my spirituality today is sharing that with people who care to listen. You know, I'm not necessarily going to go up to a stranger and be like, have you prayed today? Like, what are you grateful for today?
Yeah.
Do you have the universe, God, whoever you want to, whatever you want to call it, in your life? But there are people in my life today that care to ask, like, hey, how are you spiritually? And they care to check in on me. And
question.
It's a difficult question too, because just saying, how are you spiritually? It's like, I mean, I think I'm good.
Right.
But more often than not, I'm like, I could pray a little bit more, or I could have a little bit more self-reflection, or there's something that I could always strive to be doing better. And don't get me wrong, I'm not aiming to be like perfect by any means.
Yeah.
But I get really lazy and I get like complacent with where I am in life. So sometimes like my spiritual life can take a back burner.
Yeah.
I just try not to let it. And I feel like this interview style, I guess you would say, is almost like, it's spiritual to me. Like, these questions so far can hit a pretty deep, like, who are you on a soul level? I mean, I wouldn't have thought that's like a religious or spiritual question.
Right.
But to me, my spirituality comes to mind. Like, I feel like I'm spiritually fit on a soul level. Sometimes.
Today.
Yeah, today. Yeah, today I feel pretty spiritually fit. Yeah, so that's like where I stand with spirituality, religion, and there's so much I can learn from religion. don't get me wrong, although I was confirmed and I guess baptized, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if that's like a Christian thing. I'm not sure.
It is.
Okay. So that kind of leads me into my next point. I don't know much about organized, I should say, Christianity. Because there's plenty of other religions I do know a lot about.
Okay, yeah.
Or that I've like looked into, or just that I'm open to, right? And I don't know if I think it's just me being ignorant. Like, I don't know a lot about organized religion. And I think that's because I just haven't given it the time of day. And not in a rude way. Like, it's not like I'm turning away from people that feel that way. It's just that it's not really like the avenue I've taken so far. I couldn't tell you anything about the Bible. So for me to say that I don't believe in a biblical God, like I kind of said earlier, like I can't say that. Like I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I recently found out that Jesus used to be Jewish.
Yeah, he was a Jew. He was.
Yeah.
He was a Jew. It says it like he was Jewish. I remember when I was a kid and I would ask my mom and I'm just like, if he's Jewish, how did he not believe in himself? Because Jewish people don't think that Jesus was the like son of God. They just think he was like a dude that was like profiting and like leading people, but they're like, no, we're still waiting for the actual son of God. Like that's the difference between Judaism and Christianity. Because Christianity, so it's so interesting that you say that, because that was like one of my main questions as a kid.
Yeah, like I didn't know that, and I still don't understand how they say Jesus is the son of God. So from what I think I know, Jesus was a human, but God was not.
Right. And Mary got pregnant like out of nowhere.
Right. So is Jesus Mary's son?
Yeah, Jesus is Mary's son, which is how he's human, but like he didn't have a dad. Like Mary just got, like an angel came to her like
knocked up.
Yeah, like you're gonna have this kid, but she was about to get married to Joseph, and back then that was like a no-no. But an angel went to him too, like, hey, she didn't cheat, she's still a virgin, but she's about to have this kid. And he's like, I believe you. And then like,
what?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
It is interesting. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just I don't know many of these things. And it's crazy because I was in Sunday school. I was confirmed. I did go to church. So I'm sure I learned this. But I also got diagnosed with short-term memory loss in high school.
Word.
And something called working memory loss.
Okay. What's that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay.
I think, so I could be wrong, that it is, so this has never made sense to me. I can understand A and C, but the connecting piece, which is B, A and C, but I don't understand how they connect. Like I can't remember like how two things are related. Now. So
like how things work.
Yes.
Like you just know that they work.
I just know.
But when you think like, how does this work?
Can I Google working memory loss?
Yeah.
Okay, because
you can do whatever you want.
So it was either that, so I just don't remember.
Yeah.
What it is.
I might have that, to be completely honest.
Right? Like I went to get tested for like dyslexia and ADD. Working memory difficulties often coexist with other issues, such as dyslexia, dyspraxia, and ADHD, but they can also be a standalone problem. That didn't tell me what it is. Okay, most people think of memory in terms of short and long-term memory. So what's the difference about working memory? In a nutshell, working memory involves our ability to hold information in our mind for short periods. That's the memory part, in order to do something with it. That's the working part. Wait. Some examples might help. Mental arithmetic. Say you were asked to solve some addition problems without using pen and paper. The numbers you are given to add up to are 16, 12, and 23. In order to solve this problem, we need to hold these three numbers in our mind. But at the same time, we need to use information about how to perform arithmetic to do the required sum. Okay, I understand. So I wouldn't be able to like do all those working parts while remembering those numbers.
Okay.
I still don't, I want a definition.
Yeah.
These
I
words.
definitely suck at math, so I don't know. Maybe I have that when it comes to like numbers.
Okay, so this just is not giving me like a definition.
It's cool.
Yeah. So anyways,
Whatever.
that's something that I have.
Yeah. Okay.
And now I don't even remember how we got on that topic.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think that you fully explained where you stand spiritually and how religion can be very a lot and random and crazy,
Yes.
and it's ideals. Because I mean, at the end of the day, like what I think all religious texts teach isn't logically fathomable. Like it doesn't make sense. So you kind of have to use that faith and use that like I believe that magic is real kind of thing. Like
Yes.
I believe that these things that are not logically possible, that have never happened again, but you're saying can only happen with this one situation, happened.
Yeah. Mind blown.
What do you think about our generation? Like in our society, our generation, the millennials, the Gen Yers. So what is your view on like how we kind of move? And because we're very different than the people before us.
I think we're annoying.
Okay. Why?
I think I don't know. I've never given that much thought, but that was the first thing that came to mind. And the reason I say that is I feel that everyone wants to be heard.
Mm.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. So hear me out. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing. But I think that what comes with that is entitlement.
Okay.
Of like, well, you need to hear me out.
Mm.
And that's like a very universal thing that I just said. So like, it depends obviously like what avenue I'm talking about and like what people are trying to say. But I just feel that there's so many different like social media platforms now that there's so many different like viewpoints and topics and things being talked about. And it's like very attention craving, and I don't even know if I'm making sense in what I'm saying. It's just, there's so much. Like, I just think like, we are just so much. We're a lot. And is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't know.
Mm.
Does it bother me sometimes? Yeah. But I'm part of this generation. You know what I mean? So, like, do I do that? Or am I playing a role in that? I mean, I would probably.
Yeah.
And I probably just don't even know. Because it's, like, my norm.
Right.
But with that, I think we're also awesome. Like, we're pushing for change in so many things. We're bringing light to so many taboo topics or subjects. And the only reason they're taboo is because they were never, like, there was no light on them before with all the generations before. So I absolutely love that about us.
Mm.
So if I could, I wish I said that first instead of the annoying, because
I can edit it to be that way.
yeah. Yeah, you know, we want to see change,
Yeah.
and I don't think we give up easily, which is so fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
But at the same time, there's some, I don't know if I would say this is the millennials as a whole, but there are some that don't want to work hard for things. And I think people want to be given things and get things easily. So I think it's like this weird balance.
Yeah.
Where there's some of us that like want to work very hard and like see change in the world and fight hard for that. Find creative avenues such as like what you're doing. You know, like you're working towards something, like, and you're busting your ass for it. Like, I admire that. Whereas then there's all these like influencers or like wanting to become a millionaire selling a t-shirt or not do, what do they do? Like try on clothes on Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't even know what influencers are.
Yeah.
But like, I think they, like, I just see that they're like trying to sell clothes from shops or something.
Yeah.
And then they think they should be like a millionaire overnight. So with our generation and with all the social media at our fingertips, I think that can be used for really good. And then I think there's some millennials and some people that take advantage of everything that we have. But I'm sure it's in absolutely every generation. I don't think that's just millennials.
Yeah.
I think that's life. The power of good and evil, black and white, like there's always going to be an opposite of something. So other than that, like, I don't know, like we want change, we work really hard. I do think that people view millennials like negatively. Some.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that like in the media before. I've even heard like coworkers, like older people, like, millennials, like they just want things to be given to them. And I'm like,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, like, you're not wrong. But then I get offended because I'm like, but I'm trying to work hard here.
Yeah,
what I want
it's not everyone.
So I think I get like offended being looped into such a big category. And millennials it is such a big category that I think it starts in 1986.
Yeah, it's definitely the like mid 80s and ended like 2000. I think 2000.
Which is crazy because when people talk,
is it like 96?
I'm not sure when it ends.
Something like that. Basically, everyone who's like 21 to like late 30s right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was talking about that with my coworkers, and my coworker's like, I'm not a millennial. I was like, well, when are you born? And they said the year. I was like, no, you are. And I think there's this assumption that millennials are like in their 20s, and that's just it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
We're very ignorant to like actually how long that span is. And it's almost like anyone just enters into like age 20 as a millennial just because they're 20, and that's not really how it works.
Right, not at all. And I think a lot of people also mix like Gen Z with us because they are most prevalent on social media and seen, and a lot of these like younger influencers are Gen Z and they aren't millennial.
Oh, then maybe I'm even confusing it.
No, because there are a lot of us that are. I mean, it is pretty disgusting to see people that don't work. And I mean, I was in California in October, and I was like, where are the office buildings? Everyone, I was on vacation. So it was Wednesday, 2:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. I'm at the beach with my friend that lives out there, and it's like packed. People are walking their dogs. People are tan. People have perfect bodies. I'm like, there's traffic. I'm like, what, do people work here?
Yes.
And everyone's a freelancer. Everyone drives a G-Wagon. We went to the dog park with her dogs. I mean, this girl pulls up in her like full Fashion Nova, whatever. She's taking these pictures. She has her dog. She's jumping out of her G, So it's exactly what you're saying. Yes. And it's like coming from the East Coast where we do grind and we do work hard because we have to. And it's like, we're machines over here.
Right.
Going to a place where everyone's like, oh, I'm an actor. Oh, I'm a model.
And the worst part, like, it's grabbed me in. So, like, I follow, like, it's funny. I go through, like, little detoxes on social media.
Same.
And I'm not talking about a detox of where I'm off of it. I'm talking about, like, where I go through and, like, unfollow people where, like, the influencers, I guess I should say. Like,
yeah.
Like, I tend to follow, like, some spiritual accounts, like, funny. I follow so many animal accounts. Like, I'm obsessed with dogs.
Yes.
And a lot of, like, fit women. And by fit, I don't mean someone who's, like, 120 pounds, like, rail thin. I mean someone who's, like, very fit and worked very hard for it. Like, I look up to that.
Yeah.
But there's times where I go through or I'm not in a good place, so I start following like my unhealthy ideals. So maybe someone who is like that really thin body type, who lives in California and is like a model, or who that's usually who I seem to follow and then unfollow.
Yeah.
It doesn't put me.
It's like you're making me feel bad, right?
Yeah, and I don't realize that it's making me, or that I'm like falling for it. But so that those are the things, like kind of what you touched on, or what I think when I first hear millennials. My very first thing, and I think that's why I said annoying, is, do you work? And by work, that doesn't always need to be a 9 to 5. That doesn't always need to be like making money, but it's like working towards something, you know, and not having entitlement. And it's funny though, because I've heard so many people tell me that like I just look entitled. And I don't know if that's because I use self-tanner, so I'm tan. I don't go to tanning meds. I don't know if that's because like I have blonde hair. I don't know if it's like that just like stereotypical thing. But then again, I also don't know if that's because I might seem standoffish because I'm shy, and that's me like as a defense mechanism. Right? But
I can relate to that.
I've heard that before, and that hurts my feelings because I do really try to work hard in my personal life, like in my relationship with my boyfriend, in my friendships, in my family life, like with my nutrition and like taking care of my body. I try to work hard, and I try to work hard with my career. Like I want to have a career, and I always saw myself at like the head of a table, like in a meeting. Like I want to be like, or at least I used to want to be like a big like corporate person, and I do work in the corporate industry. And I mean, I strive for that too. I totally get it. Yeah, and I have a love-hate relationship with like the corporate grind.
Oh yeah.
But when I hear like you just seem entitled, it's like, well, I did come from a good background. My parents did the best they could for me, but like that's not my fault that they try to give me a good upbringing, and I try not to let that sway who I am as a human. And I almost feel that people's viewpoint of me is molded before they've even met me, or before they've had a real conversation with me. They just have like their own workings of their mind about who I am, and then that's how they portray me. And they don't let those prejudices get out of the way and learn who I really am. Does that make sense? It's like already assigning someone's identity before actually getting to know them. And that's been a really difficult thing, I think. When it comes to like making friends and being real and vulnerable and authentic, and like learning who can I be real and open with. Because I've had my fair share of like opening up and like trying to be like a good friend, and then being really hurt. Realizing, wow, that was just like I misjudged that. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get you to draw.
Cool.
And I want you to pick colors that really represent who you are as a person, things that I don't know, inspire you or make you feel feelings, whatever you want to do. You can pick as many as you want. And then you're gonna like tell everyone why you pick the specific colors that you pick.
Okay. Whew. So many colors.
Okay. So what colors did you pick and why?
So I picked these 6 colors. It's funny, they all seem pretty bright to me other than the black. I picked the black because it's bold and I really like black. I'm typically always wearing black, and it's a good color. I picked this because it's very vibrant and honestly, it reminded me of a sunset in the Caribbean. Not sure why. This is just really pretty, and well, essentially I picked all of these because I thought they looked really pretty together. They're bright and vibrant, and it reminded me of like warmer days.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yes, it's really cold out today, and they just looked appealing to me.
Yeah, okay. So you can draw whatever you want, and I'm gonna just ask you some questions that you can answer shorthand, like while you draw, and then at the end you'll show everyone what you drew.
Oh.
Okay. So first question: what makes you the most upset? Like, what really pisses you off?
I think being misunderstood.
Okay.
Really upsets me. I don't know if it's like the most upset, but that's the first thing that came to mind.
What do you think people most like misunderstand about you? I know you kind of just went over the fact that people like say that you look one way or that they assume that you're one way. Is that the main thing you feel like people get wrong, or is there anything else where you feel like people are constantly like misunderstanding?
I think that's the main thing. I think people assume they know what I've been through. I think people assume what like my goals in life. I think people also assume that like I've had things really easy. And I say these assumptions because I've heard these time and time again from different people and different individuals that I met in through different avenues. One of the first words or first sentences they say to me is, "You're not at all like I thought you were gonna be." And I know that's not meant to hurt my feelings, and I try not to take that personal, but I take it personal because clearly I'm getting judged before they've ever met me. And usually it has like a negative connotation to it, like, "Oh, I thought you were gonna be such a bitch." Like, why?
Yeah, I feel that.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, did I do something?
Right.
I'm also very blunt. Like,
yeah.
I'm very blunt. And the people closest to me are kind of like, "Oh, that's Jess."
Yeah.
You know, and I work very, very hard at like trying not to be that way, but it's bit me in the ass like a lot.
What's your sign?
Capricorn.
Okay, yay.
You're
okay.
Capricorn?
No, I'm a Capricorn moon.
Okay.
So like I have a lot of Capricorn in my chart, but I get that. I get that bluntness. I get that like I'm serious about my job. I get that like I get it all the way. Okay. What makes you really happy?
My dogs.
I knew you were gonna say that. Your dogs are so cute.
My dogs.
Okay.
And the sun.
Yes. You said that pink reminded you of a sunset in the Caribbean. Do you have like a favorite summer vacation place, or like a place you consider like the most beautiful when it's hot?
I don't typically. Maybe I go to Ocean City in the summers.
Yeah.
But you know, my boyfriend Mike and I have gone to the Bahamas twice over the past few years, and for whatever reason, this reminded me of one of the pictures we took. Yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I was looking through photos of us, just kind of like reminiscing, and I guess that's why it was on my mind. I came across those photos of us, like by the sunset. So this reminded me.
I love that. What are you most afraid of?
Dying.
Okay. Is there a reason for that? Like, have you had a lot of death? Have you experienced a lot of deaths in your life, or is it just like freaky because we don't know what happens after? Or...
I don't think I have experienced death in my life, yes. I wouldn't want to say I've experienced like a lot. None of like my close family, no like extremely close friends. I have had friends, yes. I think it's tied into my fear of the unknown. I think you hit it on, I think that was accurate of, like, yeah, what is going to happen? What if I'm not ready?
Yeah,
what if I
yeah.
don't accomplish what I want to accomplish? And that's so selfish because
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah, and I think I just want to make an impression in a positive way of not just like, oh yeah, that's Jess, she's cool. Like, I want to leave something behind, and I don't know what that is, but all I know is like I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So it's very scary to me. And also the world with like the technology these days and all the advancements and like smart cars and I don't know why I said smart cars, but just like all the technology.
Yeah.
It's so scary, and I feel like there's more ways now to die than ever. And like with all the sicknesses. And
yeah, that's scary. I'm already not with germs, and that's definitely terrifying.
It's scary.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah.
Okay. Make a face that explains you. Like if you were a facial expression, what do you think it would be? Or if you can't think of a facial expression, like which emoji do you think would explain you?
Oh my God. I don't know. So I'm really goofy, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I can be really goofy. So, oh my God, I don't even know. There's so many. I feel like the emoji of the little girl, like, or not little girl, that sounds weird. The emoji of the woman going like, kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I say I don't know a lot. I'm also really indecisive.
Yes, okay.
So that's just what comes to mind. But the second one that comes to mind is the emoji with like one eye closed. When I open, their tongue's out, like.
Oh, okay. Like super goofy, super silly. I love that. Okay. What do you need to heal?
So, do you mean what do I need to heal? Like, what part of me needs to be healed, or what do I need in order to heal?
You can answer that question either way.
Very literal.
I get it. You can answer both. How about that? What do you need to heal inside, and what do you need in order to do that?
I think I need to heal my internal dialogue and how I speak to myself. I am not very nice to myself. And I didn't realize that. Time and time again, good friends, therapists, my boyfriend, they tell me just how mean I am in like some of the comments, and sometimes I'm half joking but I'm serious.
Yeah.
And it's had a huge impact on me, and I believe what I'm saying. So I think I just need to be a little bit nicer to myself, even if I don't technically believe it. I'm trying to strive for not being, don't say anything at all if it's not going to be nice. And that is so hard because my internal dialogue just goes and goes and goes and goes all day. And very rarely is it nice to myself. Now, would I ever speak to a friend like that? No. I don't even think I could think of the things to say to someone else that I say to myself. Nor do I even feel that way about anyone.
Exactly.
So I think that, and what I need in order to do that is what I already have actually. Like people close to me that are willing to be like, don't speak to yourself like that. People that call me out when I'm doing it, like when I'm actually verbalizing it. And what else do I need to do that? I don't know. Time. Patience with myself, maybe.
Yeah.
It's
that's
not
a big
gonna
one.
happen overnight.
What do you question most?
What's going to happen in the future? I don't think that answers that question properly.
I think it does.
I'm a very, very anxious person.
Same.
And I do not like not knowing. I always want an answer to something.
Yes.
Which is terrible because it's a double-edged sword. There's times where that's been helpful for me, that I haven't like given up because I want to find something out. But at the same time, there's so many things in my life that there's just part of the unknown. And life is just full of the unknown. And I really admire people that just like go with the flow. And they're like, yeah, I love that. And I'm like,
how you do that?
Yeah, like, really? And like, I love that. I wish I was that like
yes.
Cool.
Oh my God, we are so similar. It's really crazy.
So yeah, I think that. I'm like, why?
Yeah. I understand
my
that.
Boyfriend.
But he's the yin to your yang, so it's fine.
Yeah.
What is one of the most challenging things that you've gone through?
So, you know, I'm trying to be like open, authentic, and real, and there's certain things that I don't want to like openly say out there. So getting sober, I think some of the memories that have come back to me through getting sober have actually been some of the most difficult. I don't feel comfortable going into them in detail right now.
Yeah.
But there are things that have happened that I either didn't remember, or I guess were blocked off for whatever reason, that through doing like trauma work and EMDR, or just time away from the drink and drugs, have come back to me. And I think working on that has been one of the most difficult things I've had to do.
Yeah.
But the most rewarding as well.
Yeah, for sure. What is one of the hardest conversations you've ever had to have, and like how did you muscle through that? And I ask this question because our generation, we communicate, we're all very different in the way that we communicate, but most of the way that we communicate is not face to face. So what is one of the hardest conversations where you've actually had to either talk to someone or be face to face with this person and like muscle through it?
When I was 19, telling my parents I had a drug problem, face to face, was so hard. And so that was face to face with my mom and my dad. I got into some trouble. And I think that, so at that point, I knew I had a problem with a plethora of things, alcohol and drugs, but for whatever reason, I said pills to them. That was something that I just wanted the consequences to stop, but I did not want to stop using drugs and alcohol. And I was not willing to look at my issues with other substances and alcohol, for whatever reason. And I don't remember that conversation clearly. I just know that I said it to them. They were very upset, like scared for me, but willing to help. And that is not when I got sober. But I'm a big crier.
Same.
And I can't think back to if I cried or anything, but I was so shut off. So as I mentioned to you earlier, I was doing drugs and drinking since I was 13 years old. So I did not properly develop the skills of how to communicate effectively at that time. So I don't remember details of the conversation, but I do remember how scary and difficult that was, facing a reality that I didn't want to admit about myself to people who loved me.
Thank you for sharing that. What don't you want to tell people but know you should share because it could help someone else?
Good question. That I struggle with body image, and I never know how to phrase this properly, but have gotten help for an eating disorder. I still struggle daily with that, and I think it's important to say I don't struggle daily with like the actions of acting out on it, but now it's almost the residual of like the internal dialogue with myself, and learning how to have a healthy relationship with food is really hard. And I think that's something that's so important to talk about, because I don't know, maybe there's someone else that might hear this that doesn't know who to talk to and can reach out to me. Or and by no means am I like perfect or anything, but like people aren't alone with that.
Right.
And as being a woman, and especially a woman in sobriety or recovery, I do think it's common that at least like the body image things, I don't know, but also it's been scary that my eating disorder has changed since I've been sober. It doesn't look like it used to look, and I used to tell myself I'm not struggling anymore because I'm not 92 pounds anymore, or I'm not struggling because I'm eating, but that's not always the case. Yeah, so I think it's important to tell people that you don't need to be extremely overweight or extremely underweight to be struggling with an eating disorder.
In your opinion, what's missing?
Is I don't know an answer?
Sure.
Okay. What's missing? Oh, I wish I could answer. Empathy for others? Like everyone having empathy for others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last question, all the power goes out, but the screens on phones, televisions, computers stay on, and it's like PSA, public service announcement, and then it's your face. So like the whole world can see you. Like, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do with that platform that you have?
The first thing that comes to mind is hide, run, but ask for help. Speak how you're feeling. Wow, that's a really difficult question. Not sure. Be real. Be open, be honest. That's what comes to mind.
Thank you so much for doing this. You did a beautiful job. Show everyone what you began to draw, began to doodle.
It's not very big.
It's okay. I like that.
Thanks.
It's so structured. Yes. Can you sign it?
Yes. This is Jessica in the flesh.